Hello, Tim from Fair Play Now, and it's the 2nd of August 2021. I want to take you back though a very long time ago to my late teens, early 20s. Back in those days, like a lot of young lads, I was very much into cars and motorbikes, and I had so many of them. It is absolutely ridiculous, and I think at one stage I was changing my cars more often than some people change their socks. It was just silly. I'd get through sort of 3 or 4 cars in a year, and it's just because I love the whole buying and selling experience. I mean, I sort of used to really love the experience of getting something different and the excitement of those first few weeks of driving or riding around on it. And yeah, I had a lot of fun, a lot of sort of great vehicles, and I think the best cars I ever had were, I had a sort of series of the big old Rovers with the 3.5 litre V8 engine in them, and they were great. I think I had a couple of the SD1, the big hatchbacks, and the one that came before that, the P6. Fantastic cars they were. Also had a little convertible MG midget. That was great fun. And it's amazing when you're young and you get a little convertible sports car. It's quite remarkable how girls who prior to that weren't interested in you at all suddenly want to go out on dates with you. So there's a little tip for any younger person watching this. Bike wise, I think my biggest bike was a Honda CB 900, and although I think the most fun bike was a Yamaha RD 350 sort of YPVS, I think it was, the power valve. Such a fast sports bike that was, absolutely fantastic. But I guess the reason why I'm talking about these is because I was sort of buying so many of them and going through the buying and selling process so much, gradually I became quite expert at buying cars and bikes. I'm not before I'd had plenty of mistakes. I bought some horrendous things which needed lots of work and lost a fair bit of money trying to get them into some kind of roadworthy state. But finally I got to the stage where I could spot a wrong 'un from a good 'un, and there was plenty of sort of little tricks I picked up along the way where you could sort of spot sort of shady people, if they weren't answering your questions sort of 100% honestly. You kind of picked up on when they're being a bit dishonest, and you could just tell from other little signs as well. For instance, if you turned up at someone's house to look at their car and the house was immaculate, the garden all neatly sort of trimmed and the house freshly painted, well, you'd know the car would be a good one before even seeing it, because people who look after their houses normally look after their cars as well. So I got pretty good at buying cars and motorbikes, and then I think that stood me in good stead in other areas of life as well. I remember this time about 10 years ago, I was working for this lady in her house, and while I was there she had a phone call and she was talking to this person for a while, and then she sort of hung up. I heard her saying, I'll have to have a word with my son so before I sort of do anything. So she hung up, and then she said to me, this person is saying there's something wrong with my computer and they can fix it, and this company's just rung me up. What do you think I should do? Do you think there's something wrong with my computer? And I thought, No, it's a scam, isn't it? And I don't know if you remember that scam. Sort of, you get these people ringing you up and saying, oh, there's something wrong with your computer. Oh, yeah, let me fix it. I can fix it for you. Like you'd get someone who'd know your computer's faulty just down the phone. And honestly, but I know I got to the stage where I could spot these scams pretty well. And again, I'm not 100% infallible, and I do get things wrong, but not a lot, not often. And yeah, sort of most of the time I can spot scams, which I think is the reason why I can now spot what's going on now as the obvious kind of scam that it is. And just to clarify, it's not like I'm saying that there hasn't been something around lurgy wise that has been dodgy and that has killed quite a few people. I'm not saying that at all, but kind of my gut feeling is that was over about early June of last year, and that ever since, yeah, this scam has just been played out for whatever reason. But I'm certainly not kind of denying the existence of the lurgy in the first place. It kind of beggars belief that other people can't see it for the scam it is. And again, going back to the cars, I got so good with cars that I'd sometimes sort of advise other people on cars, and I'd perhaps look at them for them, and yeah, they'd think it was absolutely fantastic, and then I'd have a quick look around it and go, nah, you know, it's a load of rubbish, I wouldn't touch it with a barge pole. And so sometimes the people would be a little bit cross with me, because even though they'd asked me for my opinion on it in the first place. But there you go, that's people for you. And I'd just be like, well, how come you can't spot that this car's a wrong one? You know, you've got sort of rust down here, you've got this sort of strange tapping noise from the engine over here. How can you not spot that it's a wrong one? And it's like the same thing with this. How can you not spot that this is a scam? And let's just go through things just very briefly. First of all, you got this test, haven't you? A certain test that they love, and it's been proven that it's a load of rubbish. And the American CDC, which is one of their top organisations for the medical profession, has recently said that they're not, all of a sudden, not very happy with it. I've kind of known for over a year that it's not great, because it's just too sensitive. People have sort of tested a passion fruit and found those to be positive. And this has just been going on and on. This is where all these false positives come from, or excessive amounts of positive cases comes from this test, which is just too overly sensitive. It's just a wrong one. And then if you do get tested positive from this test that's not that great, and then you've got to go to a certain institution because you've all of a sudden begun to feel poorly. Doesn't matter how you've got into that state, whether you've fallen off a ladder or whether you've just got some other underlying condition which is taking a turn for the worse, you know, the big C or something like that. If you pass away within 28 days of that false positive test, you're then put down as a death from the lurgy. And there's been people who with gunshot wounds in America who have been sort of classified as a lurgy death. So this is why I am just so skeptical of the whole narrative, and it just seems like such an obvious scam to me, you know, like that rusty car that's just been tarted up with body filler and spray can paint from Halfords. and a bit of tyre black on the tyres to make the tyres look pretty. It's just so obvious that it's a scam, and I don't know why they're pulling this scam. I'll leave you to conjecture on that, whether it's just because certain governments just gone power mad, or whether it's just a huge money-making scam, or I don't know what. But I just know it's a scam, and I think I've illustrated why I think it's a scam. But I'll leave it there. Tim from Fair Play Now, thanks for watching.